prevailing risk-on tone pressures the dollar. Global markets began the week on a weaker footing. The risk-on tone has abated today after fresh data showed that China's GDP grew a disappointing 4.9% in the third quarter versus a rise of 5.1% expected. Furthermore, industrial production rose by 3.1% last month, below the 4.5% growth expected. In the U.S., industrial production fell 1.3% to its lowest level since February. Dismal reports fueled concerns over the economic recovery through the pandemic. However, as investors continue to cheer the upbeat quarterly earnings after strong results from the first week of earnings, market sentiment has improved gradually. On Tuesday, Wall Street stocks closed higher, with companies reporting strong third-quarter earnings despite the pandemic. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.56%, the S&P 500 advanced 0.74%, and the Nasdaq Composite climbed 0.71%. On the data front, construction on new homes in the U.S. came in at 1.56 million in September, a 1.6% decrease from the previous month, while the pace of permitting for new housing units dropped 7.7% from August. Meanwhile, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller pointed to a significant slowdown in gross domestic product growth during the third quarter. Asian equities were mixed on Wednesday as concerns about slowing growth amid supply chain bottlenecks continue to weigh on investor sentiment. Furthermore, the International Monetary Fund slashed its 2021 economic growth outlook for Asia. As such, China's Shanghai Composite lost 0.17% and the Kospi in South Korea shed 0.53%. On the positive side, Japan's Nikkei 225 and Sydney's S&P ASX 200 added 0.14% and 0.53% respectively. In Europe, stocks closed marginally higher, with the Pan-European Stock 600 climbing 0.35%. On the data front, the UK inflation slowed marginally last month, rising 3.1% in annual terms after a 3.2% climb in August. German producer prices rose 2.3% month-on-month in September for a 14.2% annual increase, exceeding expectations for a 1% monthly rise and 12.7% annually. In individual stocks, Nestlé reported strong third-quarter sales growth and raised its full-year growth outlook. Following the release, the company's stocks surged over 2.5%. Elsewhere, the president of the Bundesbank announced his resignation, which he said was for personal reasons. U.S. stocks climbed on Wednesday, with Dow Jones Industrial Average jumping to a record high as investor sentiment was boosted by better-than-expected earnings reports. Verizon was one of the biggest gainers in the index, rallying over 2% after the company's earnings topped estimates for the third quarter. The upbeat mood ebbed on fresh worries about China's property sector after an asset sale at Evergrande collapsed. As a result, Asian stocks eked just marginal gains on Thursday. However, the MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan edged 0.3% higher to touch a one-month top. Overnight, China Evergrande said that it abandoned a $2.6 billion sale of a stake in a subsidiary that had made no progress on other sales. As a result, the company's stocks fell over 12% in Hong Kong. In currencies, the dollar has been on the defensive these days as risk-on tone prevails in the global financial markets, but rising U.S. Treasury bond yields continue to help the currency limit its losses against major rivals. Late on Wednesday, the Federal Reserve's Beige Book showed that the U.S. economy continued to grow at a modest to moderate pace in September and early October. However, the report failed to affect dollar dynamics. The Euro-USD has been retaining a bullish bias for the seventh session in a row on Thursday, hovering above the descending 20 DMA these days. Still, the pair struggles to regain the 1.1670 intermediate barrier on the way towards the 1.1700 figure. Later today, weekly initial jobless claims, existing home sales, and Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey could set short-term direction for the USD pairs. In other markets, oil prices surged to fresh three-year highs just above the $86 figure earlier on Thursday before retreating into negative territory. Domestic crude inventories fell 431,000 barrels last week, according to an Energy Information Administration report. As a reminder, the API reported a 3.29 million on-barrel weekly gain for Tuesday. Meanwhile, gasoline inventories fell 5.37 million barrels to the lowest since November 19. Again, against this backdrop, Brent crude rallied to fresh tops and could resume the ascent following a short-lived bearish correction. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please click subscribe to always be in touch with the latest market news.